2.9 trillion naira to federal, state, local councils as October revenue. Plus, Trump signs bill ordering Justice Department to release Epstein files. We'll bring you details of the stories and more in just a moment. Please stay tuned.
Good morning and thank you for staying tuned. First in the news this morning is that President Bola Tinubu has assured Nigerians and families of students abducted in Maga, Kebbi that the federal government will deploy all instruments of state to ensure the return of the schoolgirls. Tinubu's assurance came from Vice President Kashim Shettima during his visit to Kebbi to commiserate with the government and the people of the state, days after the abduction of the student. Shettima, who touched down at the Sir Ahmadu Bello International Airport alongside the national chairman of the All Progressive Congress APC, Netawe Yilwada, and other members of his entourage, described the incident as unfortunate, stressing that the president's priority is the safe return of the schoolgirls. Meanwhile, Shettima commended security agencies for their sacrifices. Away from that, the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee (FASC) has shared 2.9 trillion naira to the federal, state and the local government councils as the October 2025 Federation account revenue. A statement by the Director, Press and Public Relations, Bawa Mukwa, noted that the revenue was shared at the November 2025 meeting held in Abuja. According to him, the 2.094 trillion naira total distributable revenue comprised distributable statutory revenue of 1.376 trillion naira, distributable value-added tax revenue of 670.30 billion naira, and electronic money transfer levy revenue of 47.87 billion naira. A communique issued by the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee (FASC) stated that out of 2.9 trillion naira total distributable revenue, the federal government received 58.40 billion naira and the state government received 689.12 billion naira, while the local government council received 505.80 billion naira. The sum of 141.35 billion naira, that is 13% of mineral revenue, was shared with the benefiting state as derivation revenue. In the meantime, the federal government has enjoined the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors (NARD) to suspend its ongoing industrial action, saying that 19 out of its 20 listed demands have already been addressed. Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Mohammed Dangyadi, made the plea in Abuja during a conciliation meeting with relevant stakeholders. A statement by Anne Daniel, Head of Press and Public Relations Unit of the Ministry, noted that payment on a 25% and 35% upward review of Congress and a 2024 accoutrement allowances of the association has commenced up to December 2024, adding that IPPIS and NERD are working to reconcile those that have bank issues or omission and failed payment. Let's move now to the Green Chambers, where the House of Representatives Speaker Tajuddin Abbas has said that the Green Chamber is seeking to legislate for tax relief and exempt the senior citizens from paying certain taxes. The envisaged legislation will also provide for free medical services for them in government hospitals. Speaking at a public hearing on a bill seeking to provide certain rights for elder persons to ensure health and economic relief and protection for their social and civil rights, organized by the Committee on Women Affairs and Social Development, the Speaker said many of these social benefits were previously covered by traditional family support systems. Abbas said the House resolved to provide a formal legal structure that would protect the aged from abuse. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has taken steps towards amending the 1999 Constitution to further reduce the age for those willing to contest elective positions across the country. As part of the effort, the House passed for a second reading a Constitution Amendment Bill to reduce the age for qualification for membership of the Senate and office of the Governor. The bill was sponsored by Martins Etem and 24 others. The Constitution currently sets 35 as a minimum age for candidates wishing to contest for the senatorial and governorship ticket, while the age for those contesting the House of Representatives seat is pegged at a minimum of 25. Leading the debate on the general principle of the amendment bill, Etem, who is representing Urafong Oruko, Udonguko, Federal Constituency of Akwa Ibom State, said the age threshold for higher offices restrict the political advancement of young Nigerians. The lawmaker argued that the existing gap of 10 years between eligibility for the House and the Senate or governorship limit the progression of young legislators who began their careers early. In a separate development, that 36 governors across the state of the Federation, under the auspices of the Nigerian Governors Forum (NGF), have restated their commitment to aiding effort at strengthening subnational support for gender equality and social inclusion. The forum's chairman and Kwara State Governor, Abdul Rahman Abdul Razak, gave the assurance in Abuja while announcing the establishment of a new Gender Affairs Department within the NGF to strengthen subnational support for gender equality and social inclusion. A statement by the NGF's Director, Media and Strategic Communications, Yanusa Abdullahi, said Abdul Razak spoke while inaugurating a committee of practice for Commissioners of Women Affairs. The NGF chairman said the initiative represents a turning point in the country's commitment to women and girls, adding that it is a remarkable milestone in Nigeria's commitment to gender equality and empowerment of women and girls. The governor said the state needed to collaborate and ensure the program's success. Back here, menfolk have continued to raise their voices on the need for greater recognition, support and understanding of the challenges facing men and boys in today's society, as International Men's Day was celebrated yesterday. A cross-section of the menfolk in Uyo advocated for a shift in how society views masculinity, urging communities, families, and institutions to create safe spaces where men can express vulnerability without judgment. They also stress that while men are traditionally seen as protectors and providers, they also struggle with mental health issues, emotional burdens, and workplace or societal expectations that often go unaddressed. This year's theme, Celebrating Men and Boys, focuses on promoting positive male role models, strengthening men's mental and physical health, and highlighting the discrimination and societal pressures that often go unnoticed. We move now to Africa, where French President Emmanuel Macron will embark on a new tour of Africa this week, hoping to spur new dynamics in the relationship between France and the continent, according to the LC Paulus. The tour will start with a visit to Mauritius on Thursday to promote partnerships with neighboring French islands Mayotte and Reunion. After Mauritius, Macron will be flying off to South Africa to attend the G20 summit over the weekend, which will be marked by the boycott of the United States. The French president hoped to use the event to meet with his Algerian counterpart and try to appease tensions between their two countries. The tour also includes a stop in Gabon, where Macron is scheduled to meet with President Brice Oligui. The Army General won the presidential election in April. His victory effectively ended a two-year transition period that followed the ousting of Ali Bongo, an ally of France, in a coup. The LC Palace said Macron would show support to the new Gabonese authorities. The French president tour will conclude with a visit to Angola for the European Union-African Union Summit. Leaders are expected to strengthen cooperation in areas including peace and security, trade, and green development. Still in Africa, with just a few days to go to the first ever G20 Leaders Summit in Africa, South African Security Cluster says it is ready to secure delegates from around the world. The acting Minister of Police and the National Police Commissioner rallied troops at the parade in Soweto, said they must act decisively against troublemakers. Meanwhile, the Police Commissioner, General Fanny Masamola, told officers that the country was depending on them for the summit to go off smoothly. The police service said protests at the summit in Johannesburg will only be allowed in designated areas around the venue. On a foreign scene, U.S. President Donald Trump has announced that he signed a bill ordering the release of all files related to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The bill requires the Justice Department to release all information from its Epstein investigation in a searchable and downloadable format within 30 days. Trump previously opposed releasing the files, but he changed course last week after facing pushback from Epstein victims and members of his own Republican Party. The Epstein files, subject to release under the legislation, are documents from criminal investigation into the financier, including transcripts of interviews with victims and witnesses, and items seized in raids of his properties. Still on the foreign scene, the U.S. military has said that senior Pentagon officials have arrived in Ukraine to discuss efforts to end the war with Russia. The team, led by U.S. Army Secretary Dan Driscoll, is expected to meet Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky in Kyiv today when he returns from a trip to Turkey. Earlier, reports began surfacing that the U.S. and Russia had prepared a new peace plan containing major concessions from Ukraine. However, neither Washington nor Moscow has officially confirmed the plan. news. Morocco's captain Hakimi crowned Africa's Men's Player of the Year. Stay tuned for details of this in just a moment. Many thanks for staying tuned. Now let's go to the concluding parts of today's stories. On a business news, the Chief Executive of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, Gbega Komolafe, has said that the Commission approved about $20 billion worth of field development plans in the last 10 months, in line with its ongoing reforms to boost oil production and attract fresh investment into the sector. Komolafe, who was represented by the Deputy Director, Human Resources, Corporate Services and Administration at NUPRC, Efemona Basi, stated this at a two-day strategic media workshop for energy correspondents in Lagos. Speaking at the close of the workshop, Komolafe said the engagement underscored the high value in which the NUPRC holds the media, given its strategic role as society's watchdog and the stewards of public trust on information dissemination. He stated that the development was driven by regulatory instruments under the Petroleum Industry Act and further reinforced by President Bola Tinubu's far-reaching executive orders. Still in business, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, has called for the investment in blue economy, automation, artificial intelligence and advanced technologies in order to enhance efficiency. MAN made the recommendations in a communique issued at the end of the 41st Annual General Meeting, Conference and Exhibition of the Rivers Bayelsa State Branch. In a communique made available to newsmen, MAN specifically urged Bayelsa and River State to fully develop and harness the blue economy as strategic gateways for sustainable growth. In order to drive growth and development of manufacturing in the branch, the association also recommended public-private dialogue, cross-border partnerships to enhance trade, and institutionalization of quarterly interactions between manufacturers and MDAS. In health, the federal government has vowed to end open defecation by 2030, saying over 45 million Nigerians still engage in this practice, as only about 25% of the population has access to safely managed sanitation facilities. The Minister of Environment, Balareba Lawal, disclosed this at a press briefing to commemorate the 2025 World Toilet Day, with the theme, Sanitation in a Changing World. Lawal, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry, Mohamed Kambari, noted that this year's theme reflected the growing impact of climate change, rapid urbanization, and widening inequalities that weaken sanitation systems. The day is to raise awareness and inspire action to tackle the global sanitation crisis, which still affects billions of people worldwide. Let's move now to sportswear. Morocco's captain Achraf Hakimi has won the African's Men's Player of the Year award, capping a season in which he lifted the UEFA Champions League with his club Paris Saint-Germain. The 27-year-old also won a fourth Ligue 1 title last season and claimed the French Cup as well as the UEFA Super Cup. However, PSG came up short in the final of the Club World Cup as Hakimi was forced to settle for a runners-up medal in New York. The right back beat out two past winners in Liverpool's Egyptian forward Mohamed Salah and Nigerian striker Victor Osimhen to claim the prize for the first time in his career. Meanwhile, Hakimi is currently nursing a severely sprained ankle, but a fate will lead host Morocco in the African Cup of Nations from December 21 as they seek to win the competition for the first time since 1976. Still in sport, the nationwide League One NLL has announced a kickoff date for the 2025 NLL Cup. The tournament will run from Monday, December 8 to Wednesday, December 10, 2025 and will be staged at the Bari Stadium in Abuja. 8 teams have been selected to participate in the competition. The clubs are Dante FC, Like Minds FC, Junior Danburan FC, HBFC, Lapia FA, FC Nasarawa, Galadima FC, S114 FC, and Simon Ben FC. A night entertainment scene. Gospel singer Nathaniel Bassey and Pastor Jerry Eze have called for urgent action against rising insecurity in Nigeria, urging the government and security agencies to tackle terrorism, banditry, and kidnappings. In a statement on social media, Pastor Eze prayed against perpetrators and their sponsors. Meanwhile, Nathaniel Bassey expressed concern over the nation's security situation, stressing the need for accountability and decisive action. He urged the government, armed forces, intelligence agencies, and citizens to unite in confronting criminals. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website at spectrumtvlive.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 10. Do enjoy the rest of your day. I am Emedion James.